Okay, welcome. Thanks for joining me. My name's Chuck Underwood, and I'm going to be discussing textures and how they can enhance your image. Something that if you've never tried, you might want to try it. It's kind of an interesting way to add a little pop to your image and kind of if you've got an image like the one I'm showing you here that's it's okay, but it needs a little extra something that might really make it stand out as a image that you'd like to show. Uh, I have some pre-made textures. Textures are something that you can download on the internet. If you do a search, you'll find them pretty easily. One source that I like to use is Flypaper Textures. They have sets of textures that you can download for a small fee. Uh, Here I'm showing you some that I have made my own watercolor textures, which I have painted here in my studio, and then I photographed them and uploaded them to my computer. Now I already have some of those loaded in here on Photoshop. Here's one, there's the other one, and here's my image. Now the first thing you do, you have to make sure that once you've got it in Photoshop that it matches the size of the image that you want to add it to. Now this image is 12 by 18 inches, so this one is not quite that size, and you can easily stretch an image simply by going to image size and then uncheck constrain proportions. Uncheck that and just enter the image size that you want to change this to. For example, this one would be 12 by 18. Okay, now it's the correct size. You also have to make sure that it's the right mode. 8-bit is what this image is. So I've already changed it to 8-bit, and you have to make sure it's also the same color profile, which in this case is the sRGB. So this one's ready to be added on to the image. So what I do is just drag it over and then press shift so it'll be centered in the right in the middle, and then let go, and now it's over here. It's a layer completely covering your image. So now you have to choose your blend mode, which is usually, for me, it's either overlay or soft light. I'll click overlay, and here it is showing your texture overlaying your image. And usually that's too much. I usually bring the opacity down to whatever it looks, wherever I think it looks good. Okay, that looks pretty good there. So I'll leave that one alone. I've got that first texture in. Now I'm going to add another texture. Here's another watercolor that I want to add. First I need to go to image size, and change the dimensions to match. 12 by 18, and then drag it over, press shift, let go of your mouse, there it is. Change the blend mode, overlay, and now bring the opacity down. Okay. And now if you can also move these layers around. Sometimes that helps, sometimes it doesn't really change it that much. Yeah, that doesn't do anything. It just depends on the blend mode that you choose also. I think, yeah, that's the one I was looking for. I like the color blend mode on that texture. Yeah, I really like what that does. Okay, let's see. Overlay. You just have to play around with the opacity and the blend modes to find a texture effect that you like. Now this is pretty good. This is kind of like what I was thinking of. This is gonna work for me. But I have the effects of the texture covering the entire image, which you may or may not want to to happen. So I think I'm going to mask out on the flower and the leaves, mask the texture off of that. So what I do is I'll start with layer 1 and go to layer mask, reveal all, and then press B for your brush and check to make sure your opacity is 100%, flow 100%. And down here you want to make sure that your foreground color is black for masking out. And then I use my Wacom tablet to do my brushing in and brushing out, painting and that kind of thing. Wacom tablets are great to have. If you don't have one, I highly recommend them. They make your work a lot easier, more accurate, more fun to work with. So here I go. I'm just going to kind of mask out that texture effect that I just added over the flower part. Changing the brush size as needed in the smaller areas. It's another thing that makes the Wacom tablet so easy to use is you can very easily change the brush size with your left or right hand, whichever way you are, as far as are you right or left-handed. So here I'm continuing on to the stem, getting the leaf done. There we go. Now you can change the opacity of this later on if you want. You can, if you removed more than you wanted to remove, you can always go over here and change it to the white foreground color, which will bring back the texture that you just removed, or not. It just depends on whatever you think you want. Okay, one more. Let's go over to get this one. Okay. Right now I'm just removing the one layer of texture. I have another layer to do before I'll be finished. Okay. good. Now let's move down to the next layer, and make sure it's visible with the pressing the I will show it visibility. And then go to layer mask, reveal all. Now you can mask out the texture from this layer. Again, it's a matter of personal preference whether you remove all of the texture around the subject or not. Sometimes you may want to just remove a little bit. Sometimes you prefer to remove it all. It's up to you. Whatever your artistic sensibilities are, go with it. Almost finished here. Now if you go over, see right here I went over a little bit too much, just come back over here and change to the white foreground color, and that will allow you to cover back the texture that you removed by accident by going over a little bit too much. That's something that almost always happens. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. That's what I wanted. So there you have it. That's it. All you have to do now is save your work. Going to save as, always save as a new file name, so you have your original intact. I usually describe what I just did, so I'll put TEX for texture on the end of that file name so I know what I did to it. Sometimes it's not that obvious that what you did, so it always helps you to remember and know what you did. Okay, so that's saved. I can continue to work on that, or I'll output that as a print if I want, whatever I want to do with it. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.